and welcome to Catechist Magazine. My name is Jason J. Rock Houston. We're speaking with Kurt Deimer today. How you doing today, Kurt?
Good. How are you, man?
And why don't we start off telling the people about your new album? And I understand you're getting ready to go out on tour with Yngwie. Is the album already out now?
Yeah, our debut EP came out in November. We're kind of re-promoting as well right now. It's called Work Hard, Rock Hard. It's our debut release, and it's it's available everywhere you stream music and whatnot. And we're going to go out in support of that with Yngwie Malmsteen starting April 29th, I believe, as well as we're doing the 50th anniversary Rainbow Room show here out in LA a few days before the tour.
Oh, how cool is that? I mean, do you know any of other bands that are going to be playing that with you guys?
Yeah, the 50th ring, Steel Panther, Stephen Piercy from Rat.
Wow. What a lineup, huh?
Yeah, a couple of the names that'll be there. Yeah, Steel Panther's the main headline that night.
Yeah, Steel Panther, I don't know how big of a fan you are of what they do, but it's kind of an interesting story that the guy who's a singer of the band, he now goes by the name of Michael Starr. He used to go by Ralph Sanaz, and he was briefly in LA Guns, but he actually went back to doing his Van Halen tribute band because he was making more money doing that. And then, of course, they formed Steel Panther, which is kind of a spoof of the 80s rock thing. But the cool thing people don't know about Steel Panther is that it's like all original music. It's more of like a tribute to the era. But, man, they're just one of those bands. I think they nailed it,
Yeah, they've definitely got their niche, and I was with them on. They were one of the headliners on Shipwreck in January, and I performed on there in the Stowaways with people like Bumblefoot and
oh wow, what a
Judas Priests and stuff like that. I did it on the Stowaway nights, but Steel Panther headlined as we cruised away. So they definitely. They have a niche and a good following.
Yeah, and pretty much they're like a great party band. I mean, they're one of those bands I think that can kind of play pretty much on any bill, and people are going to love what they do, Yeah,
they got their own unique little come on and party with a style,
So, Kurt, let's talk about your debut album. I mean, for people who aren't familiar with you and the band and what you guys do, how would you describe overall sound of the band and the debut album?
Well, I stay true to my range and to the way I want to present my vocals. I want to, breaking out, over the last 2-3 years after I came to LA, it was very important to me to stay true to myself, true to my lyrics. Everybody wanted me to write with other people, and I just kept writing and writing. I was an English literature major in college, so I'm finally doing what I trained to do, what I love to do.
Kind of a true poet, if you will. I mean, and that's really what a songwriter and a musician is. I mean, you're kind of putting your that's what a song is. You're a poet to music. And
I've got so much in my brain, and it's like therapy. And instead of going to a therapist, I write my lyrics and then I present them, to our audience, and it's good. They seem to love it, man. I mean, even if they haven't heard the song, by the time the song's over, the whole crowd's into it everywhere we play.
And so what's the response you've been getting from people, like, posting the music online and stuff?
We're doing very well for where we're at, and we haven't even put any big campaigns together yet. We've got a lot of Spotify listeners, and people can follow me there and listen. Apple Music is doing well. We're getting so much social media response and interaction, and we're building a fan base all over the U.S. because that's the only place we've been able to tour so far with everything going on in the world.
And so, do you have a music video that's out to support a single or anything, or is that about ready to be released?
Yeah, if you go to our YouTube channel, everything's under at Kurt Deimer. We've got the first song Phil X and I did together with my producer Chris Lord-Alge was Have a Cigar. We did our version of a cover of Pink Floyd's Have a Cigar.
Oh, wow.
And that's what brought us all together. So there's a music video out for that, and as well as it's available on streaming. And then I did a song with Geoff Tate from Queensryche.
Oh, wow.
And, we toured with him last fall as direct support as well, and it's called Burn Together, and that music video's out. And then we have a music video out for our single that's going to be pushed on radio here very shortly, called Naive, which is the first song on the debut album.
Well, and Phil X, I mean, he's an interesting cat because there's no denying what a super talented guy he is. I mean, for people that don't know, he's a great lead singer, a songwriter in his own right. He plays a mean lead guitar. I mean, he's the guy that replaced basically Richie Sambora and Bon Jovi. Can you imagine? I mean, that's got to be the greatest paying side gig you ever get, you know?
Oh man, it's incredible. And can you imagine being me coming out here with a demo?
Yeah.
Chris Lord Algie and I have now become best friends first and foremost. Forget the music relationship.
Yeah.
Then he brings in Phil X, and you have him as your guitarist and your friend now and your brother, and we're on the same mission together. And then when he's not playing with me, he's going to go out in April and do stadium shows with Bon Jovi.
And not a bad gig, you know. And then I got to also tell people to check out his solo stuff. I mean, I forget what it was called, but I interviewed him about his last solo release. The band is Phil X and the Drills, and man, I mean, the guy just kills it vocally. People may not know that about him, and he was, before he was ever in Bon Jovi, a number of years ago, he replaced Rick Emmett in Triumph, if you can believe that.
Yeah. He's very talented, and he's great friend and I think one of the best guitarists I've ever heard in my life. And the way he sings.
Yeah.
And then with my voice being, I can go low. I do a lot of narrative. I do, him and I blended together. It's just, you'll hear it on the album. It's amazing.
And so if people want to go and get the album, I'm sure they can get it digitally, but can they get a hold of physical copies as well?
Yeah, what we've done, we've got vinyl that'll be coming sometime.
Oh,
vinyl
wow.
supply, as you know, is very tight right now.
Yeah.
But CDs are available at Kurt Deimer. That's KurtDeimer.com, my name. And we've got the physical CD, which I'm happy to sign for anybody. There's an option on there. And then we also have a limited edition single CD out of Have a Cigar. And then on the flip side, it's got Burned Together, featuring Geoff Tate. So there's 2 CDs available at KurtDeimer.com right now.
Oh, how cool. I dig that, as kind of a collector's thing, because also, I'm an old school guy. I still love to hold physical CDs in my hand. I mean, I got memories of, I used to spend hours in the record store. Kids today, they don't even know what's a record store, you know?
Oh, I know. It's like a dinosaur now.
Yeah. And in regards to the cigar track you guys did, the Pink Floyd cover, first of all, talk about how you chose that track to cover rather than maybe one of the more popular Pink Floyd tracks, because I think that's kind of cool if you picked one that's not so obvious.
Well, I originally, when I did my demo and brought my initial music out to LA, I was working with Ben Trexel out of Birmingham, Alabama, and he actually came up with the idea how cool it would be to do Have a Cigar, and he laid down an idea. And once I got to LA and started working with Chris, he listened to that original version we had done, and he's like, I was going on a promo tour, and he said, when you get back, come in, I'm going to have this laid out, produced, and show you what we can do together. So I get back, and I play this, and then this solo comes in, for the whole end of that song, which you'll hear when you hear it.
Yeah.
Or when you play it, and I didn't know it was Phil X at the time.
Wow.
And it just shreds, man. And I got chills. I about fell over, and I'm like, who is that on guitar? He goes, it's the CLA band. And I'm like, no, who is it on guitar?
Yeah. Phil X.
Phil X.
Wow.
And I'm like, holy, I don't know.
Yeah.
I won't cuss.
No, that works. We're on the internet. Don't worry about that.
Yeah. So I'm like, holy shit, man. This is crazy. And the rest is history. We shot the music video. That's the first time I met Phil.
Wow.
In person, and now we're friends, and our families are friends, and here we are. We're going to do this the rest of our lives.
And do you think, would you say you stayed pretty true to the Pink Floyd version, or did you kind of want to put your twist on it?
No, we don't. And we do it our way.
That's
we do
cool.
it the Kurt Deimer and Phil X way, and you'll hear it when you hear it. You'll be like, man, yeah.
Yeah, I'll go check it out later today when I get done with the interview. But that's a cool thing too. Sometimes that bands do. I mean, you even look at a band like Tesla, that they had that huge hit with Signs, and I interviewed the guitar player Tommy Skew, and he was telling me they had a much bigger hit with it than the original artist even. But the cool thing about that is, Tesla fans, back in 1991, hearing that song for the very first time, and a lot of people even today think that's a Tesla song. But you look in history, that was done by another band originally, but they put their stamp all over that song. That's. Oh
yeah, that's a badass song. I love that song.
Yeah.
It's really good, and have a cigar, you'll get the same vibe, man. It's totally, if you didn't know that Pink Floyd did it,
yeah,
you would think it's our own version. Because anytime we're going to do a cover, and we've got several of them in the vault ready to go, that Chris Algie's produced, we're not doing it the way the original artist did. I'm not in it to copy them. I'm in it to give my interpretation and what that music means to me, and do it justice. So
I mean, that's what it's all about. I mean, people listening to this, they may be surprised to find out that Helter Skelter is not a Motley Crue song. It was originally done by the Beatles, and that's probably the most metal that the Beatles ever got, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and so wow, and talk about getting to work with Geoff Tate. I mean, legendary Queensryche singer. I mean, I'm assuming you were a fan of his growing up.
Oh yeah. Well, the first time we met, we all went out. Our camps went out to dinner here in LA, and I remember one of the first. We were talking, and first of all, I couldn't believe I was sitting with Geoff Tate.
Yeah.
And I'm getting ready to go on tour with him. It's all kind of surreal when you're, working your way up in the business. But what a gracious person, what a kind person, great conversations. Spent a lot of time in cars together. We shot that music video, Burn Together, out in Palmdale, out in the desert in 115-degree heat. And he was out there, and I'm telling you, man, a good story. He was on the set, and Geoff Tate is singing in the music video just like you would hear him singing in the studio. And his voice is just so...
I mean, he's one of those guys very much along the lines of a Ronnie James Dio, in the sense that, I mean, look at his range. I mean, he can do everything from singing like Silent Lucidity to, Revolution Calling or Operation Mindcrime,
He's one of a kind, man. And I told him, I go, when you sang that with that orchestra on that MTV Music Awards, that's something I'll never forget. And then here I am hanging out and creating music with him. It's quite surreal.
Yeah, I would imagine so. And so, like, who are some of your other heroes growing up, as far as that influenced you to kind of become a singer and do what you do?
Well, I can remember Jason, when I was young, I had, we had that turntable with the built-in speakers.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
and I go up to the front of my neighborhood down in Houston, and I'd have the albums right there in the little front. And I had the Boston albums, I had the Cheap Trick albums, and I'd put them on, and I'd jam feeling satisfied in my room, and I'd jump off my bed when the guitar, and I'm just like, this is what I want to do someday if I can do it. And I tried up until I was about 20, and I was going nowhere fast, having a little trouble figuring out what to do, and I decided to take another path, and I just said, someday if I can come back and do this right, and the time is right in my life, I'm going to do it, and here I am.
So when you're kind of taking your break from music, what were you kind of doing in those down years?
Well, I graduated college finally.
Oh, good for you, yeah.
I have three boys, wonderful sons, and raised them, and I got my English degree, as I said, but then I got a master's in marketing and management. I had worked for Chevron Oil. My dad was in the oil business. Oh,
wow. So you've done everything. That's kind of cool.
I did that. Yeah, well, if you go to starfire.com or starfire1.com, I own my own oil brand. So I started my own oil companies from scratch in the late 90s, and now they all run themselves. I even have a toll blending facility up in Pennsylvania, but they all run themselves, and now I'm just going to be
doing this on the side.
doing movies and fronting my rock band the rest of my life all over the world. So I'm also an actor.
Oh, I was going to ask about that. So as far as doing movies, like... is that something you're just kind of getting into? Have you already done a few movies?
Well, how that all happened and how I really got back into music, back in September of 2017, I was going down to do a cameo in the movie Trading Paint with John Travolta and Shania Twain.
Oh, wow.
And they offered me a line or a speaking part and put me in the movie. I'm in at the end of the movie. I'm the track announcer. So I looked at that as a sign that it was time. And then the next thing I know, I'm cast in the Halloween movie that came out in 2018. Did you see that one?
Oh, how cool is that? Wow, okay. What role were you in that?
Well, in that one, I ended up being the teller at the gas station, and I had a speaking line with one of the leads.
Wow.
Right before she got killed, I got killed by Michael Myers. I was the guy at the counter, laying on the counter with all the teeth out of my mouth. And so I was killed by Michael Myers, which was huge.
Wow, yeah.
And then after that, I'm like thinking it inspired me. Halloween, the first one from back in the 70s or whenever it was.
Yeah.
The low budget, they did their own, and then look how big it is now. And I thought, I'm going to do my own franchise. So I've got my own horror movie. I'm the lead in. I'm a crazy psycho, and I have my own horror character I've created, and it's called Hellbilly Hollow, and it'll be coming out hopefully later in 2022. But we've already written the script for Hellbilly Hollow 2, and it'll be a franchise like Halloween.
How cool is that? And in conjunction with that, I'm assuming you're also going to, being that's your project, get your music into that.
Yeah, there's going to be a soundtrack that comes out with the first one, and we've got probably 6 to 7 of our songs in there. We've got Bodies by Drowning Pool that'll be on the soundtrack.
Metal.
Another one of their songs. We're working on a Toadies song that'll be in there, and one of my buddies, Chris Schaefer from the Y Store. There's one of his songs from back in the.
Oh, I dig that too. That you're kind of throwing your friends like some
man, it's
songs
in
in there.
life, man. It's all, the more you give, the more you get, and I'm all about. I have a big heart. I love to give back to charities and help people, and that's why I do it.
And that's kind of cool. Like I'm assuming from a story you just told that the acting thing you kind of just fell into. Is that something you were always kind of interested in doing as well?
I think subconsciously I always was interested, but when I went down there and was on the set, and then when they offered me that and everybody's taking photos, and then I'm all of a sudden acting with John Travolta in a scene, it was like, this is a sign that I need to go ahead and pursue this now at this time, and the rest is history. And hopefully I'll make
it's kind of interesting because it's music and movies. Sometimes you can combine them like that, and if you got like a little fan base like you do, I'm sure your fan base when the movie comes out, they're gonna want to buy it. They're gonna go check it out, no doubt. But would you say the movie business is equally as hard to get into as the music, or do you think one's harder than the other?
I think, but they're both
equally difficult.
Very hard.
Yeah.
And if I didn't do what I did in between my music and then coming back into music, I didn't want to come back into this not knowing that I could take punches and fall down and be able to get back up, because it's a brutal business, and I had management that had taken advantage of me early on. But I look at it all positively because it was stepping stones.
And really meant to be. It may be, as they say, divine intervention in a sense, because things happen when they're meant to, and who knows, maybe this is the perfect time in your life for this to be happening, because like you said, you raised your kids. I mean, just think you would have done it when you were younger. You've been able to have, spend as much time with them. So again, maybe meant to be,
Yeah, I'm very, and I grew up in a family of 4. My parents were together like 60 years.
Oh, wow.
A little backstory, I lost my sister in 13 to ovarian cancer.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
She was a big singer. She was always in Annie. She was Annie and Annie back in productions, and she toured with Hair over in Europe and all that, so she was a big singer. My dad always sang in the church choir. He was a baritone. And I was always kind of Kurt, the guy who liked to party a lot, but was very smart. And started all these companies, and then my dad passed in 16.
Oh, wow.
So every show I look at them up in the sky, I say, here we go, let's go have some fun, and then I just go out and let it go, man, and I'm just loving it. And I want to do it the rest of my life to honor them and to help others and, give back and help veterans. I love to help veterans.
Wow.
I love to help kids with cancer, all that stuff. So, and I can't do it. I want to take this to I'm not doing it because I have to do it. I'm doing it because I love to do it.
And I think that's why part of the reason maybe you're finding a little bit of success now, because anytime you do anything in life, especially a job, that you enjoy, where it's not really a job, it's something you're doing because you enjoy it, you reap the benefits that much more,
Yeah, there's nothing greater, man, than walking out on stage after our opening tune and looking out to the fans, and I interact with the audience, and I just let it go, man, and it's seeing their faces and the smiles, and then after I'll go out and greet people and take pictures. I love meeting new people, and we call it building the Kurt Deimer family. In fact, our fan club's going to be called the Kurt Deimer Fam Club.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
And it's what better joy than to brighten somebody's day. You don't know what they went through all day. They come to your show. They've never heard. Half the time they didn't even know we were going to be the one opening up, and then we come out and blow them away. There's no better feeling.
Back in the days, I mean, so many of those bands you mentioned, I love bands I grew up on, bands like, Kiss, Slaughter, Motley Crue. A lot of those bands, they made it on their fans. I mean, the Kiss Army started was just a group of Kiss fans demanding that Kiss be played on the radio, and then, I mean, all those fans are still following the band 50 years later,
Yeah, it's incredible, man. It's incredible. That's what I hope to do. I mean, Phil and I say it often to each other. We're just going to do this till we can't do it anymore.
And you kind of give it's a matter of giving the fans what they want, and you have bands say, "Oh, we care what our fans say," but some do and some really don't give a damn. But it's the ones that give a damn about their fans and kind of, as Judas Priests like to say, delivering the goods. They're the ones that have a long-lasting careers,
Yeah, Judas Priest, I probably saw them 8 times when I was growing up, and they blew me away. Another influence.
Can you believe 50 years of Judas? Yeah, can you believe 50 years of Judas Priest? I mean, they're supposed to be on their 50th anniversary.
It's crazy.
And you mentioned, one of your influences was Cheap Trick, and they're one of my all-time favorite bands. But I don't know if you're even aware of this. I'm sure you've heard the live version of "I Want You to Want Me," which was a big hit all over radio. But if you go back to the original version, which was on the debut album, I think, or the second album, it almost sounds like a swampy country song. But when they did it live, I mean, they gave it a new life. It kind of what you're saying. They really, I mean, it took off. If you listen to that original studio version, it sounds nothing like the live version. You'd almost think it was 2 different songs.
Oh yeah, I definitely heard that because I would play them back and forth back in the day, and that live one just was magical.
And I think that's why that album took off, and that was the album, almost like Kiss, with Kiss Alive 1. I mean, Cheap Trick, finally people are seeing what they were doing live. They're hearing it.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. We were just talking about them the other night in the studio. Chris is friends with Rick, and I can't remember. Somebody had come into the studio, and we're reaching out to Robin and Rick about having them on a new song that we got coming out called Heroes. So how cool would that be?
Yeah,
to have Robin and Rick on there. So we're working on it, but definitely one of my influences, and definitely a band that inspired me to do what I do now.
Yeah, I mean, people compare them to the Beatles. They got a Beatles thing going, but they also got their own thing going. They're one of those unique bands. I mean, people used to kind of crack jokes because they'd have 2 guys that were really good looking, 2 guys that kind of didn't really look like a rock star, but they made it work. I mean, they're one of those bands. I don't think there's another band out there like Cheap Trick.
Yeah, man. I remember sitting in the 5th row just getting pelted by Rick Nielsen's guitar picks and trying to find them on the ground. And what a great band. What great performers, too.
Oh, yeah.
To me, it's very important to me. I want to hear the music as close to how they play it on the record as possible with their own live twist in it. But the presentation and the stage show is so important, and that's why we try to always make it a great show, even if we're just direct support. And when we get the headline someday, you better be ready, because it's going to be crazy.
That's what I was going to ask you, because, another thing that makes a great band is, when I go see a band, I want to be entertained. I don't want to just hear it replicated like the record. I mean, like even back in the day, you go see a band like Deep Purple, I mean, you get a 30-minute jam session of Smoke on the Water as opposed to the way it was on the record,
Exactly. Yeah, you add your twist to it. Stay as true to the song originality as you can, but then add your twists. And to me, being on stage as a frontman is just like acting. It's a crossover, and I want to put on a great show. I'm not just going to stand there.
Yeah, because I'd much rather see a band like Kiss or Alice Cooper as opposed to five guys in jeans and t-shirts just strumming their guitar.
Exactly.
And I'm assuming too. I was curious. When you were starting out, Kurt, did you start out as a singer? Did you start out as a guitar player first?
Well, I started out as a piano player when I was young.
Oh wow!
My parents, had me trained in piano, so I did that, and then I was a percussionist in the concert band in high school and middle school. So drums and piano, and then I dabble in guitar and bass, but I'm by no means. I can write on it, but I'm not a guitar player.
Okay.
And then I started a band late in my teens, and I drummed and sang. But then I became just a lead singer, and then when I gave it up, to start a family and get my act together, I was a lead singer at the time.
So let me ask you: when you first became a singer, was that something you always wanted to do? Was naturally? I'm assuming you write your own songs, you want to sing your own songs, but was it a matter of, did you always knew you had the ability to sing, or did other people kind of tell you, hey, Kurt, you got a pretty decent singing voice?
I never thought I could be a great singer, because my sister was like an opera singer.
Wow.
That's how good she was, and my dad had a great voice, so I was always kind of comparing myself to them.
So again, you kind of just fell into it, huh?
I have a unique delivery. I have my own style, and people dig it, and if you don't dig it, you don't dig it. I don't dig everything out there.
Even people say, like David Lee Roth is not the greatest singer, but you know what? For what he does, he's great at it. If we stop and think about it, that's the original voice of Van Halen. So, if you go back and you listen to those classic Van Halen albums, even the last one they put out with him in 2012, it's magical. You can say what you want about the way he sings now, but he's a great singer. He was great at what he did, and there's just no denying that. There's singers who write their own stuff, and you can't imagine anybody else but them singing it. They might not be the greatest singer in the world, but sometimes people, when they write their own stuff, they can sing it more with heart, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I sing it with heart. It's my style.
Yeah.
And it's not easy to duplicate because, of the way I do it, and I want to be unique. I don't want to be run-of-the-mill.
Yeah.
I want to stand out, and I want people to go, man, I really love this, or man, I really hate this, because when I start to see people who maybe don't like the way I sing, it's great. At least they're listening. And then I've got all these other people going nuts, and I love it. You can't take it personally.
And here's the other thing. It's great that you have that humility, because, the thing is this. I say, I give you kudos for what you do, because I only wish that I could, record an album and have that kind of talent. But the fact that you got all these great people behind you, your publicist, I know, Chip, he's worked with everybody from, Tony Iommi, Black Sabbath, Michael Schenker, so you got great people behind you, and the fact that you got a record deal, and I don't think if they didn't think they could sell a record, I don't think they would even give you a deal. The fact that you're going on tour with a guy like Yngwie Malmsteen, again, I think that says it all,
Yeah, I'm very blessed, man. But like you said, what we talked about earlier, I probably first came to LA in 2018.
Wow.
So it's been a lot of work, and my management wasn't up to snuff at the beginning. My management now, I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you who they are. It's Andy Gould, who managed Rob Zombie, Linkin Park.
Wow. See again.
And Paul Gargano is my co-manager with Andy, and he manages Drowning Pool.
Paul Gargano, if I remember back in the day, used to write for Metal Edge and stuff like that.
Yeah, in Metal Edge, he's still doing that.
Wow. Wow, see, you got people behind you.
I go on the Shipwreck Cruise, and our entourage is Paul and Andy Dawes from Universal and Drowning Pool and me.
If anything, you've had time to hone your craft, and another interesting thing that you kind of covered in the interview today. I think you're in good company with other like legendary musicians, because people may not realize, like a guy like Steven Tyler, and Janie Lane from Warren, they started out as drummers before they were ever singers, and a lot of guys. I mean, I think Phil X is one of them. He's known as a guitar player, but a lot of musicians, they can play more, they can sing, they can play the guitar, the bass, the drums. I think it makes you a more rounded musician, and maybe even a better producer when you can play more than one instrument, because you have a more of a appreciation for what the other guys in the band do.
Oh yeah, Phil can do anything with strings, and Chris Lord-Alge, you'd be surprised. He's well known as the mix engineer, but he's a great producer as well. So he produces, and he plays keyboards, and he does this and that. He does it all, and then I can pick up an acoustic and play a few things here and say, here's an idea, or I can get on a piano.
Yeah, piano too.
Play the drums. It's good to have all that, but then do what you do best.
Yeah.
On the team when you go out and present it to people.
And I think too, starting out on the piano, I dare say, probably makes you a better songwriter too, because that's how a lot of people start out. I mean, Eddie Van Halen, Jakey Lee from Ozzy's band, those guys are known as guitar shredders and great guitar players, but they start out on the piano.
Yeah, exactly. And I play by ear. I can read music, but it's all ear, and Phil's all ear, and it's a beautiful thing, man. When our songs come together, it gives you chills.
And so, you've mentioned a few times you're going to be playing the Shipwreck Cruise. So, when is that, and how many days are you going to be doing that?
No, Shipwreck I had already played.
Oh, okay.
That was in January.
Okay.
So that's the one I went on with Drowning Pool, and then I played in the Stowaways with Bumblefoot.
Oh, okay.
Nita Strauss and people like that. So that was in January. The next thing we have coming up is the Rainbow Room 50th anniversary.
Wow.
April 24th. It's an all-day party in the park, out in the back lot. And then our tour starts up in the Northeast April 29th, and that'll be direct support for Yngwie. So we'll be playing right in the sweet spot, 8:39 every night. There's a couple bands before us every night. So. And
I'm sure your management played a role, but do you know how you guys landed the Yngwie gig? Because that's pretty good.
The Yngwie gig, I had toured a couple years ago during COVID. It was, a really weird tour because only 20% capacity and stuff, but I had to get out and play in front of people, and I raised money for St. Jude's and made a big donation to them. So I went on this tour, and one of the promoters, his name's Greg St. Charles, he was, he knew of my band then and knew that we were very, I was entertaining and all that. And when we were on the Shipwreck Cruise, this is a funny story. I got a Facebook message from him that Yngwie's we'd like to offer you direct support to Yngwie. We think you'd be a great fit. I passed that on to my manager, Paul, and as soon as we got off the ship, Paul had worked out a deal with Chuck Bernal, who's the booking agent for Yngwie.
Yeah.
And the rest is history. Here we are going on tour with them. So it actually came to me through a Facebook message.
How cool is that? And I guess that's a good place to end this interview. You want to tell people where they can find you online again, Kurt?
Yeah, the main hub is Kurt, K-U-R-T, Deimer, DEIMER.com. That you'll have all the links to our socials there, and then we're on big on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Kurt Deimer. YouTube, follow us there, subscribe. Kurt Deimer, again, it's very simple, and you can get copies of CDs and merch at the website, and we're really using that as the hub for everything. And we're on all streaming services, or just Google my name, you'll see me on the red carpet in Halloween, or
cool.
Google Kurt Deimer, K-U-R-T-D-E-I-M-E-R, you'll find it all.
Oh, that's cool. Now, let me ask you, as far as besides ordering directly through you, Kurt, can people get the CD on Amazon and other sites like that,
Yeah, right now it's just KurtDeimer.com, but we're working on, we are going to have it available in places like Amazon and others. It's all part of what we're working on with Chip and
great.
Our radio team and all that right now, so it'll be coming.
Well, Kurt, I enjoyed talking to you, and I'm going to get the CD so I can listen to it in its entirety. But I want to welcome you back once I've had a chance to do that. Maybe once you've started the tour, or even when your movie comes out, because I really enjoyed talking to you, and I want to invite you back. Maybe you can think about this, but I have another show we do called On the Record, where we talk to musicians about like an album by one of your favorite bands that really influenced you. Talk kind of in detail about it, why that album or those songs mean so much to you, or even the band. So maybe you can think about what album or what band that is, and maybe we could do that down the line. But I'd like to welcome you back, because I really enjoyed talking to you.
Well, I really appreciate that, and I will be happy to be on a show with you anytime you want me to. And without folks like you who care and want to give me a chance to share my creations with the world, then I couldn't get it out there. So I appreciate you very much.
Well, it's a great story, and I'm on Facebook. So later when I get home, I'll hit you up on Facebook and friend you. But and the interview will be going up probably about a week. I'll let Chip know once I have a confirmation date on when it'll be going up. And at that point, if you'd like to post on your site, please feel free to do so. We'll keep in touch that way.
Yeah, we'll do that. And if you are you in the Northeast?
Well, I'm in Los Angeles. Yeah.
Oh, you're in LA. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they told me Eastern time 4:30. So
well, yeah.
I didn't know if you were out here or over there. So.
Yeah, I think it's 3. They said 3:30 your time, 1:30 my time. So yeah. So where exactly are you calling from today? What state?
I'm actually in LA. I'm getting ready to head out to Mix LA here to keep recording at 4. So.
Okay, well, I'll let you go. You get back to doing what you do and making some great music, and we'll listen to that down the line too. Take care, Kurt.
Thank you, man. Maybe I'll see you at the Rainbow. Come on out for the 50th.
I'll do that. I think I will do that. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Okay, brother. Thank you so much for having me and believing. I appreciate it.
Anytime. Take care.
All right. Take care.